And we are really excited that you start the tour here in Mexico City. So welcome.
Thank you. Yes, we're very proud. My team and I, my whole team and I are very, very proud to screen the film for the first time here.
You are a master storyteller, and that's why I think you haven't stopped to a particular film genre. You have explored a lot of genre through your filmography. So this is a basic question, but how did you build your filmography? How did you choose those stories from your previous films?
I will say two things. First, I have always a weird feeling that I didn't choose the movies, but the movies choose me. Saying that it's like sometimes it's strange to look at the past, what I've done, but the most important thing I will say is I want, as a filmmaker, when I started when I was your age, I wanted to do fiction. I wanted to direct actors, I wanted to write screenplays, but life made me make a detour, and I started by doing documentaries, and that was by far the best film school I had. To be alone with a film camera and to learn how to in relationship with reality with one camera, being alone with it, and develop my own as a sensibility with the camera. That is the most important thing. From there, being alone with one camera, I always tried not to make too much of a step, trying always to make movies that I will feel that I will have the capacity technically. My first feature film was about a boy and a girl on a sidewalk. It was like, and from there I built slowly. When I felt I would have never start my career with a movie like Dune, and I would be dead.
We know that your adaptation of Dune is faithful to the book, but I was thinking that many elements from your other movies are present in Dune, as we are just saying, especially in part 2, and especially with how the characters have evolved from part 1 to part 2. And for example, I'm thinking in Arrival. In that movie, you talk about how language determines our thoughts and our ideology and how we understand the world and how we see the world. That happens with Louis, and in this movie I think that happens with Paul and the Fremen language. He adopts it, and he begins to understand the desert power and their rituals and their traditions and the story and the importance of their community. So you check like your previous films and you say, oh, this is a very interesting theme and aspect that I can take to make a new movie.
I think that it's the idea of the immersion into another culture is something that I grew up with. Maybe being from a small community of French-speaking people in the North American continent, adapting ourselves to the outside all the time. And also I learned cinema by traveling with the camera. I'm going back again to this first experience where I was doing documentaries around the world. So the idea of trying to decipher or understand another way of living. Very young, those documentaries, so it was this link of the culture shock and trying to go beyond that and to see the colored language and to understand, to go beyond the language is something that interested me. This is something that does interest me, and it did translate my work from one movie to the other, I guess.
What is the best advice you have ever received as a filmmaker, and when you can share for all of the students here today?
The first one I mentioned at the beginning is that I think it can be a good idea to develop an eye by yourself. I said that already. Well, something that probably your teacher told you, other filmmakers, but it's true. Watch old movies. There's something about old masters. There's something about movies that are made. You can spirit tested. and don't follow advice. That's what Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's something, it's very important as film student that you develop your own voice. When you go and you start making movies, you will be confronted to what they call the industry. There's a it's easier for the system. There's a way of doing things, and it's important that you develop your own voice and you find your own way of doing things.
In your distinctive approach to filmmaking, especially in films like Blade Runner, how did you balance fidelity to the original vision with the need to bring your own creativity and unique perspective to the work?
It's a very good question linked with the idea of adaptation. And when you make an adaptation, necessarily you'll transform the subject. It's always moving for me to see how much, at the end of the day, if you adapt the book of someone else, the space between the book and the movie will tell a lot of things about yourself.
How do you direct actors and actresses so their characters have a compelling arc once the film is edited?
First of all, it needs to be in the screenplay. I mean, it's like that. There's a lot of operation in the screenplay. Then in prep, there's a lot of meetings with actors to go through each scene to also make sure that they understand in the scene what the scene means, how you enter the scene and how you get out of that scene, what would be the trajectory, the emotional trajectory, and if there are questions, if there's problem with the lines, everything needs probably to be done in prep. Because when you're on set, it's too late. For me, one time on set, it's not about ideas, it's visceral. And my job as a director is to protect the intimacy around the camera. Even if there's like hundreds and hundreds of people on set, my job is to make sure that there's a bubble where I'm going to protect the concentration and the focus of the actor and that you would be as connected as possible so I can bring them where I want them to be. And saying this, the work and prep is still important because they are all actors and actresses, they are all different.
What were the challenges in terms of storytelling for this second film?
Many, but there's when Frank Herbert wrote Dune, he was disappointed from what I've read. I've never had the chance to speak with him, obviously, but he was disappointed of the movie. The book was perceived because he from what he heard, he understood after that the reader thought that Paul was a hero, and for him it was the opposite. He wanted the book to be a warning about charismatic figures, about messianic leaders. He wanted the book, So for that, to correct that, he wrote a second book called The Messiah. That is a kind of a little epilogue to correct and to make sure that people understood what he wanted to say with Dune. So we had the luxury to know that. So I did the adaptation having that in mind. So I think and I hope that my adaptation is close to Frank Herbert